Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, find a way to win, or you find a way to lose. And when it comes to Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney and the press conferences, I think they need to find some intervention because, man, things got crazy at the presser today. Now, I'm going to say this, right? I think some people are being maybe a little too sensitive. I mean, it's boxing, it's a press conference. They got to sell the fight. And what I'll say is, I think Ryan Garcia, I think he's doing a brilliant job of selling the fight as a businessman. If, in fact, he really is not on some kind of substance, some kind of intoxicant, because when I watch Ryan Garcia, I'm telling you, right, I was the first one to do videos talking about his twitches and shit. I did it like several days ago. Like that's the first thing I noticed, with his face jumping around and twitching in his voice. But now everybody has taken notice to it and they're doing videos about it. But if he can do that, which is something he's never had that twitch or that tick, right? He's never had that. He's never had a raspy voice. If he can create these twitches in his face, if he can, force himself to have a raspy voice and come out here and engage hecklers in the crowd and want to fight him and, use hard profanity. If he's doing that to sell the fight as a businessman, then, job well done to Ryan Garcia. Now, what I'll say is, I'm not so sure that's the case, but I don't know. But what I will tell you is a guy, age 48, spent 24 years and 5 months in the military, right? And seen thousands of people come in front of me, right? Young and old. Let me tell you something. I'm telling you this something from my experience and dealing with people. I don't claim to be a medical expert, but I'm telling you, I've seen people come in the morning and be hungover. I've seen people come in and be high. I've seen people come in who doing cocaine. And you can see these people who you're working with, day in and day out. Other people who you come in contact with several times a week in meetings, etc., out at the gym, out around in the compound, young and old. And you notice when there's a change in the pattern of behavior, and it stands out. And with Ryan Garcia, I'm sitting here watching this guy like he's one of my subordinates, and I'm like, okay, something's going on here. And I understand everyone who's kind of drawing attention to Ryan Garcia saying, okay, there may be something much bigger going on, and that's why there's a concern about him possibly pulling out the fight. Now, it's my understanding that, boxers aren't allowed to smoke weed. Now, Ryan Garcia is openly talking about how he's smoking weed, and looks like he was just smoking a blunt last night. And it makes me wonder, right? If Ryan Garcia is really smoking weed and forget the alcohol, they can drink, right? But if he's really smoking weed and doing that drug, I would think that the commission would have already gotten involved to kind of kill the fight or to get somebody else to fill in, right? Because didn't Keyshawn Davis, but that was in Texas, right? But Keyshawn Davis just got banned a few months. But when you look at Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney, I mean, they're not fighting yet, but if they're going to fight in New York, I know it's legalized in New York. You can smoke weed, but I'm not so sure when you're a boxer and an athlete. My understanding is that's not allowed. So if they're doing this random blood and urine test and Ryan tests positive for weed, I don't know if that kills the fight or not. But I do think it's a little mind blowing that he's openly talking about it. So as a businessman, if he's not doing it, and him with this whatever he had lit up looked to me to be a joint, but it could have been a beanie, could have been a cigarette. You know what I mean? They got some people who take tobacco and wrap it in a leaf. It could have been anything, just to troll the fans and troll Devin Haney, and just to kind of create some attention for the fight. But bottom line is, if Ryan Garcia is just doing all of this just to promote the fight, well, then I think it's brilliant. But at the same time, I'm going to tell you, I think there's more. I think there's more to it than what we're seeing. I personally think Ryan Garcia is stressed. I think he's anxious. I think he's depressed. And I think the image that his family was giving off as a spiritual group that's really all about family. I think that they're all about family, their family, as far as the whole thing about being spiritual and Christianity and all that. I don't know. His dad kind of, I don't know, man. You know, I think it's good. The trash talk is good, but his dad, that was a little crazy when he was. It's one thing when Bill Haney was talking about how he has a toupee. Ryan Garcia's dad may have a toupee because, you know, if he does, his shit was funny as hell. Because Bill Haney was saying that Ryan Garcia's dad, basically, he got his toupee from the same place that Floyd Mayweather got his toupee or got the hair replacement done. But when Ryan Garcia's dad came out and was like, well, rather have this than that nappy hair. The first time he said it, I was just like, okay, they're going back and forth. I didn't really think much of it, but, you know, I heard the word nappy, you know what I mean? There's certain things a person can say, certain words that, you know, kind of stick to you, you know? So when he said it, I was like, okay, he said nappy. That's going to be construed as him, you know, being a racist and being a bigot, even though I think it was just trash talk. But it was when he came back the second time, right, in the wave of insults, and he said, nappy head, you know, mother effer. That was kind of harsh. You know, that was kind of harsh. And that's when I said, what the hell is going on here with Ryan Garcia and his family? And his mom is acting all erratic, screaming from the crowd. And I'm like, Bill Haney pushed their buttons. Because the whole thing about the amateur program, who was a referee, who was a judge, how they were the ones there kind of behind Ryan Garcia getting a win over Devin Haney. And I'm sitting there laughing. But Bill Haney, in my opinion, from what I see, from what I saw and had time to digest it, seemed like he was spitting facts. And they didn't like it. So that's why they were lashing out like that. But I still think if everything that has been transpiring on the end of Ryan Garcia and his team, I think is brilliant because it's got us all talking. It has everybody, even people who don't really say much about boxing, they're talking about this shit. Now, when it comes to Devin Haney, Ryan Garcia seems to be, you know, strictly business. Devin Haney's trying to be professional. But at the same time, you can't come out here talking about what kind of example are you, Ryan Garcia, with the kids, because you're talking about drinking alcohol and smoking weed, but then you calling him the N-word, and then you talking about MF for this and MF for that. So when I watched him, I'm like, yo, this is very entertaining, but at the same time, it's like, what the hell am I watching? You know what I'm saying? Like, but is it good for the sport of boxing? I guess it's got us talking, so I mean, that's all that matters, right? But there's so many different things going on here. You got the drugs, you got the women, you got religion, you got mother and fathers, you know, you got all kind of different, you know, inextricable connections with controversial topics and just overall, man, you know, a foundation of drama when it comes to Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney. So now you got the clip of Devin Haney and Tank Davis, that sparring clip that everyone's talking about, it's out there on Twitter now. And it's just a clip, but in that clip, Devin Haney doesn't look like he's having fun in the ring. So I think there's some intervention needed, man. Absolutely crazy what's going on. And if you watch Oscar De La Hoya, Oscar doesn't really look quite comfortable with all the shit going on, because I think even Oscar knows, like, okay, this is getting a little crazy. And even Ryan Garcia he recognized that his dad was, saying some stuff that, it's like, hey, we can't take that back. And that ultimately affects Ryan. So Ryan was trying to take the father's mic and tell him to basically be quiet. Because I think the next thing to come out of Ryan Garcia's dad's mouth probably would have been something that would have sent shockwaves throughout the boxing world. But that being said, man, I'm not really sure if this is what we're seeing is good or bad, but I do think it's entertaining. But at the same time, there needs to be some kind of intervention. And on a more serious note, I really am concerned about Ryan Garcia. I'm telling you, something's he just seems erratic. He's misplacing his self-government. He doesn't seem to know what he wants to do. He's debating. He's being confrontational. He's being passive. He's getting quiet. Then he flares back up again and has an outburst. And you sit back and watch the different emotions that he's showing, man, and it's like the ebb and flow of emotions. It's like, what the hell is going on here? But that being said, man, as far as my opinion on Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney, I still think Ryan Garcia is a dangerous man. When you have somebody that comes in the ring that's erratic and who's high on emotion and just high on really trying to hurt you now, because Ryan Garcia, like you can see, he's visibly angry, and anger doesn't always work for you in the ring. You got to be able to think, keep calm, control your emotions, and apply intelligence along with your boxing acumen, and you 9 times out of 10 will get the win and get the best of the emotionally charged fighter. But the problem here is, I really see a lot of people are not giving Ryan Garcia a chance to beat Devin Haney. And like I said in other videos, I totally understand Devin Haney's been more consistent. I think he has a better IQ. And I think it's only fair to say, hey, Devin should be the favorite. But if Ryan Garcia, his conditioning holds up, I just think for me those first, I'd say 4 to 6 rounds. And if Ryan Garcia is really, if he's not taking care of his body, I don't think he gets beyond. I'd say between 4 and 6, the fatigue's gonna show up. But at the same time, the first 4 to 6 rounds, that shit is gonna be exciting because you just don't know what's going to happen. Because Ryan Garcia is tall, he has reach equivalent to Devin Haney. He's got speed probably more than Devin Haney, and he has definitely more power. Not saying Devin Haney doesn't have the power to hurt Ryan Garcia, because Ryan Garcia doesn't seem to have the best chin in boxing. I'm not saying he's Amir Khanish, but he's definitely not, Ruslan Providnikov, granite chin. But I still think we're going to see something in this fight where, Ryan Garcia going to get that shot off. And what's going to happen. But I do think Devin Haney working with Snack, not having to kill himself to get down to 135, I do think Devin Haney is going to have something that's going to surprise Ryan as well, especially if Devin Haney can land it, which you'd almost have to expect Devin Haney to land some shots, because in every fight that he gets in, he outlands his opponents. Devin Haney does work. So you would have to think that he's going to land on Ryan. But remember, Ryan is bigger than Devin Haney's past opponents. Ryan has more speed than his past opponents. Ryan has more power than his past opponents. You know what I'm saying? So when you look at it, although I think Devin Haney should be the favorite, I just think it's an interesting matchup. First 4 to 6 rounds, I think, is dangerous for both. I think more dangerous for Devin. But Ryan Garcia really not taking care of himself. I just can't see if the fight goes beyond 6 rounds. I can't see Devin Haney losing. Even though Ryan Garcia power can show up at any time, if you're tired, I mean, all that power shit goes out the window because you start falling apart. Your legs, you don't have your legs underneath you, and then once you start getting tired and your mind starts to affect you, you start thinking about things. You know, you tend to want to look up at the clock and look over at your corner or start hugging and grabbing. And I'm telling you this from experience. You know what I'm saying? I, like a lot of you, I've been in the ring before. I know how that shit is when you get tired. I know how it is, especially when you end it with someone who's in shape. I've been on both sides. When I was the guy who was in shape and there was somebody and I put the bing bings on him, it wasn't very fun for him. And then I told a story before on my channel a while ago. I'm not going to get into the whole story again, but I was set up to go and spar some guy when I was overseas, and he was basically getting ready for some competition. I didn't know that. I thought it was friendly sparring, so I wasn't really in, fight for your life shape, but I was in okay shape. This guy was in fight for your life shape. And they took me up there, man, as the American guy to spar this Korean guy. Come to find out he was the, local heavyweight, champion or some shit in the amateur circuit. But bottom line is I get in there with this guy, and, I come out there sparring like 100% speed, 50% power, just thinking we're working. This guy started throwing them kimchi bing bings at my ass. And I was, getting out the way of him, but I remember thinking to myself, well, what the hell is this? You know what I'm saying? Like that shit felt like a fight. So I had to turn up the heat on his ass in that first round. And I remember I hit him on. He went to throw a jab. He was orthodox. So he went to throw a jab, and I stepped out to the right. I fought southpaw, and I just timed it, and I slipped it out to the right and came back with a hook. And he was expecting me to throw the left, but I threw the hook over his jab, and he kind of locked him up for a little bit. And the whole gym gasped. They were like, "Oh!" All I heard was "eto, eto." I don't even know what this shit means. That's what I heard of it. Oh, samida, eto, samida, eto. I just know they were talking in goddamn Korean. And my coach he looked like he was kind of excited, but he just kept saying upper, like, because English is a serious language barrier. So he's not saying like, hey, hood champion, dip to the right, hook, or dip to the right, throw the left, hook, come back with the uppercut. He's trying to talk in English, so he's like, hey, upper. And I'm like, yeah, I hear you. But anyway, the guy respects my power at this point. But you think that slowed him down? Shit. He was coming, guns blazing. So it's like I said in the other video, that shit turned into a life or death moment in there, man. And I got my respect, but I had to get the hell up out of there because he was in fighting shape and I wasn't. You know what I mean? And I knew, I was like, if I stay in here, like I think it was the third, fourth round, I was like, this shit may not end well. It's not because he was necessarily better than me. I was exhausted, man. My damn legs were shaking. And I remember getting out the ring, and going down, walking slowly, but I remember my legs shaking. That's how much energy I had put forth in that ring to try to keep this motherfucker off me, But I learned from that. And you know what's the sad part? Is the guy who I was the coach who brought me up there, we call him Kwang Jung Nim. That means like coach or boss, right? So Kwang Jung Nim, he when we were leaving, because after the match we all sat around on the floor eating sets. Sets are like where they have like rice and meat and stuff. It's like a lunch. So we're all sitting around, everybody who was sparring. The gym was packed too, eating the sets. And I saw that dude, the coach who brought me up, right? I saw him in the back with all the other coaches from other gyms, and I saw them paying this dude won. Won is the currency in Korea. Paying him won, and they were bowing, and I was like, oh shit. He brought me up here as his American boxer, basically to kind of feed me to their national champ, and it didn't go out the way they expected. But I would say because I didn't come out for another round. I was too tired, and so I would say that I would say I lost. You know what I'm saying? It was sparring. There's no winner, but I would say I lost because he was still ready to go, and I was ready to go, but not back in there for round 5. I was ready to go my ass, as far away from them Koreans as possible because I was like, shit. I came up here and this guy put me in a life or death situation. But long story short, we're talking about fatigue setting in and Ryan Garcia. What I'm saying is I've been through that shit. Now, what I learned from that is I said, if I'm gonna be down here training at these local gyms where there's nothing but Koreans in here and maybe a few Americans, because he didn't really like the Americans because they come down there with the American ways, and the Korean culture is very different, and it's his gym, he's the coach, he's the boss. There's no talking back and all that bullshit, so the culture is different. I was very respectful, but, I grew up, culturally I kind of understood them, more than guys who just grew up, in an American household, Culturally, I understood both, but I just, some guys just didn't get it. You just don't go down there and argue with the guy or not pay him on time or, laughing, joking while he's trying to coach. They don't play that shit over there. But anyway, what I learned from that, especially being over there, is when you go to spar, it's a fight. And that's how they train. But I stayed my ass in shape. I'll tell you what, man, I was running them hills. I was running for like an hour, 45 minutes, 2-hour jogs. And the first hour, 15 minutes was an incline. I'm talking about a steep ass incline. And how I used to do it, it's mental, man. I'm telling you right now, it's mental. Everything in life is mental. But I used to get through that first hour and a half, hour and 15 minutes, and then I would turn around. And then, it was much easier on the way back. And shit, man, I don't know, I was like 205. I dropped down to like 175. And then I remember all the coach would say is he was call me by my last name, He would say, "Oh, you reduced. He's trying to say, "Oh man, you lost weight." And he grabbed, because over there they're real touchy feely and shit. He would grab like my waist and feel for the muscles in my stomach and shit. And he would lift up my shirt and see the muscles in my stomach. He like, "Oh, you reduced. Good." And then I was sparring and the guys in the gym, he had guys in the gym, and I used to try to take their heads off. I used to light their asses up. But that's because that's how they sparred, So I wasn't in there just trying to, go to someone's body and shit. If I got into the spar with him, he used to have to tell me, he would call me my last name. Let's say he called me Hood Champion. He would say Hood Champion, and he would do his hands down like, take it easy on him. But I didn't. Anyone I got in there with out there, I was trying to kill him. I ain't gonna lie, because that's what they would try to do to you. And that's why you see a lot of those fighters over there, especially in Asia. You gotta kill them, man. It's an honor thing. Like, you better be careful messing with them, man. You get in there half-assing, they will knock your ass out. But that being said, man, Ryan Garcia, the fatigue, I think that's what he's gonna be in, a similar situation. He get tired, Devin Haney gonna be trying to knock his ass out. So hopefully he's taking things serious and getting in the best shape possible. I think Derek James takes boxing serious, and people talking about Ryan Garcia is going to fall off. I don't think Derek James is going to allow that. I think Derek James is going to keep him grounded and make sure he gets Ryan Garcia to the fight. And I think he's going to do his best to make sure Ryan Garcia has the best opportunity to be victorious. Will he? I don't know. But I tell you what, however Ryan performs, that's either going to help boost the stock of Derek James, or it's going to kind of kill the value. And I think Derek James knows that. And from what it seems at this point, is Ryan Garcia is one of those kind of high-risk situations. But it's like, what's your tolerance level? You know what I'm saying? But greater the risk, greater the return. And if Ryan Garcia gets past Devin Haney, there's no rematch. And if it's a competitive fight, but Ryan Garcia gets a nod, there should be a rematch. But if not, Ryan Garcia is calling out everybody. Tiafimo, Subaru Matias. Ryan Garcia may be on his Al Capone shit. He may be on his Tupac shit trying to hit everybody up. But nonetheless, Ryan Garcia, Devin Haney, very entertaining. Could be going a little too far in some instances, but at the end of the day, it's got us all talking. So they're doing what they're supposed to do to sell the fight, and I hope it sells out. I hope they make big money, and we'll just see what happens. That being said, y'all keep cool. Shout out to the veterans, all 7 continents. Yo, I'm in the breeze.